Hey everybody, my name is Saif, founder of Shinke Systems and one of the hosts of the Fishy Business Livestream. Welcome to episode 4. Today we have Ethan Rubley joining us. Ethan is founder of FarmNG, who make general purpose robots for every farm. Ethan is going to hate me for saying this. He is a very successful serial robotics entrepreneur. Previously spent time in computer vision companies, Google X, you name it. Ethan, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Saif. It's hard to outdo that introduction, but my name's Ethan Rubley. Thanks for having me, and so excited to have connected with you recently, and looking forward to discussing robots and startups and food systems and saving the world with you today.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's up, everybody? Daniel here. Friend of both organizations, proud investor in both, managing partner of Tesseract Ventures, and excited just to see how we can be helpful in the conversation.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan, operating partner at Tesseract Ventures. I am be hosting the live stream today, so excited to be joining the conversation.
Sweet, thank you everybody. So I think to kick it off, Ethan, I'd love to ask you, what prompted you to decide to spend the next few years of your life in agriculture?
Yeah. So it was 2019, and I was just wrapping up my last startup, which was in kind of media and entertainment space, deep learning tools. I read this really impactful paper on Archive. All these deep learning ML scientists were on this kind of broad study of like how can I forget the exact name of the paper, but and anyway, provide a link later, but it was on how can deep machine learning experts have an impact on climate change. And like I flipped through this like 60-page report, and this was really highlighting, the audience for this is like entrepreneurs, scientists, venture capitalists, and it's like the playbook for like how do we solve the climate change crisis if you're a deep learning or ML expert. And agriculture popped out to me. I've always been attracted to farms and production systems growing up in Pennsylvania, and so I convinced my wife to sell our home in Mountain View and buy a farm in Watsonville. Wow. Move our two kids here, and embed ourselves in like the coolest, in my opinion, most dynamic ag environment in the country. Watsonville is the basically it's the salad bowl of the United States. The Salinas Valley, Pajaro Valley, and Salinas Valley is like where all the fresh veggies and fruits and fruit and lettuce is grown for most of the country. So, What about you? Like, how did you decide to get into making like brilliant sushi?
Well, actually,
maybe that's a simplification. Yeah.
Well, for everyone who doesn't know, we make fish killing robots that are much more humane to process fish and letting them flop around on a boat to suffocate, which is the long and short of how your fish become sushi grade. And
why gas station sushi is a lot different than really nice sushi.
100%. And so very similar to you, I actually read an essay earlier on when I was in the transition to grad school. And so it's this essay in the newspaper on if fish could scream. And it was all about how, because fish don't have vocal cords, we give them less empathy than to land mammals. And most pertinent, that is the end of life experience. And so maybe not quite pitched, in the big grand vision, but the essay was all about how most fish today, when you walk into any mass market retailer, they basically suffocate to death when they're wild. And the knock-on effects of that is lots of stress on the fish, and in turn, really significantly deteriorated time of shelf life. And so I started thinking about this space and found the techniques we're automating today, and I thought, why not solve the problem directly? And so, here we are about a year later. And so, I think that, it's really interesting how large a scale some of these problems can get, right? Like 3 billion for fish, 3 billion people rely on fish as a primary source of protein. I'm sure like 95%, 99% of the population rely on agriculture in some form for you. But the wastes in this industry they cascade for, in volumes, right? in fish, a trillion fish every year are pulled out of the water, yet as little as 1 in 3 actually end up making it to a plate. And it's crazy how much of that is actually, rises due to spoilage, due to bad handling, et cetera, et cetera. And that's one of the reasons I thought that it's just such a large problem that everyone indirectly faces in their day-to-day, from higher fish prices or whatever have you, that we went out to solve. What were some of the few first problems that you found, in your kind of exploration with your home farm that you're trying to solve?
Yeah, with food, of course, we all have to eat, right? And and then when you start looking into that supply chain, and how our food is grown, and it's one of the most underappreciated kind of pieces of our society, and it not only has climate and environmental impacts. There's animal welfare, like what you're looking at, and then there's also the socioeconomic around essentially our food production systems. If you think about it, a third of the world's population currently labors to grow food in the field.
Whoa.
So that's that is. And so I started, and here, in the salad bowl in Watsonville and Salinas Valley, this is the most intensive vegetable production. Specialty crop production is still the least automated of the production of kind of in the vegetable or in kind of in farming. And so it also has, this is where most of the labor spend is in agriculture. And so the human, cooperative tools for humans that are accessible to that long tail of a third of the world's population started to stick out at me as okay, that's an important area to tackle and build tools, because most of the automation is inaccessible in this space to to farms that are small, but 90% of farms are below several hectares, so globally, and most of the world's population that is working on farms are working for a couple dollars a day, right? And so how do we envision a new food system that enables that population to do something, have more wealth, so that they can invest their time in making a difference and spending it with their families. And that's what popped out to me, and that's where we started working on the Amiga.
Yeah, I remember when we were
if I could say, to kind of extend your previous question regarding the initial problems. You've got right behind you a nice set of robots. Maybe to connect your previous point regarding deep learning and the opportunities for the technology to solve these really huge problem sets, why don't you just give us a quick download on what we're looking at and how that kind of informed the way you thought this technology stack could start to really make that vision of farming real today? So I've switched my view here. Hopefully that's kind of coming across, but this is the Amiga. So this is essentially an electric bicycle type platform, but for agriculture. And so this is a 1 to 2 horsepower platform. This is leveraging, e-bike batteries, e-bike motors, microcontrollers, open source code, Python, right? And it's this is the smartest wheelbarrow you've ever had, right? And so and we wanted to make this open and extensible to your individual application. So part of this is that it's reconfigurable. And you can use it for a variety of applications and farm kind of row widths, and here's a sprayer that is towed behind this, and we wanted it to be hackable for farmers. So farmers are amazingly creative entrepreneurs themselves, right? And
they have ideas on like, okay, if I just had a machine that could do this simple thing, I would build that,
Right.
and so here now we've given, now we've built a farm like hardened Jetson Xavier, with a touch screen interface and an open API, and so our customers are starting to build their own applications that can run on this machine, and then like can guide it with GPS, or these cameras are just incredible, that we have mounted. This is like another off the shelf product that we've integrated, but these can run neural networks and depth estimation like directly on board the camera. And all this technology is like mostly open source, off the shelf, and it's just like packaged in a way that like farmers can like start playing with it, and students and researchers can start leveraging this so that they can focus on like the next generation of tools or workflows, that are like that are necessary for us to actually figure out, so that we can continue to feed everyone, in the face of climate change and kind of all of the socioeconomic kind of craziness that's happening right now in the world.
What were your favorite applications that you've seen that you weren't expecting, the most surprising ones?
Flame throwing, like that's a fun one, at least. So farmer puts a flamethrower on a robot, what can go wrong?
Ryan, is there any way to pull it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can put that up on the screen.
You got it. Pull up the health and safety one that just got like 80,000 views.
Yeah, and then people figuring out how to like just ride on it. Like people want to ride on these machines, and so it's like our seat attachment is great, or like it's basically what makes me excited is we give it to people, and then they figure out things that we had never thought of. And we have this contest going on right now across the country, and getting very, very, we have like 19 different teams at colleges building applications on top of the Amiga, and very, very, it's going to be great. Like Daniel's helping me host with the UCA&R, and this award ceremony where we get to showcase like all this hard work that these 160 students have been doing on top of the platform, and really creative and domains we had never even thought of. So, but can't talk about it too much.
So one question before you dip, or maybe one quick question to connect the world of agriculture and aquaculture, especially as it concerns what you just showed us. One of the things we've been thinking out, really inspired by the success of Farm&G and the challenge with Shinkai, is how to like connect those two. How can the success of like the food system and the challenge, what UCNR is doing with Farm&G, expend to like the really similar modular tech stack that Shinkai is building, but to extend one of the largest animal protein sources that people rely on every day?
Yeah, I mean, I think just our oceans are so critical, and I'm sure that there are so many young people and so many people that their daily lives depend on essentially that, for their that production and for their livelihood, and kind of thinking through how we can make that technology accessible, and how technology can really, ideally it's like, how do we not disrupt these these producers with this technology, and but how do we enable them to realize economic benefits, or allow the research to kind of transition from the lab to commercial scale? I mean, those are the kinds of ideas on the farm we're thinking about, is like, how do we allow like ecologists and scientists to take their brilliant research that they've been working on over the last 20 years, and that like technology of how to leverage ecosystems. How do we make that commercially viable for a small business owner to like implement?
Right.
And so I don't know. I'm not too up on Shinkei's business model, but like, man, how do we just democratize access to your fish kill chain? Maybe that's not how you think about it, but
it's very close.
Handrail for fish.
For sure.
But
sweet. So, well, look, Ethan, we know you're tight on time, so we'll let you go. But really appreciate you taking the time today. I think that there's a lot. I'm sure. Hopefully, we'll have you on for another episode down the road. There's a lot of really cool stuff you guys are tackling. When at Shinkei here, we're really inspired by Farm and G and your success and getting a fantastic SDE engagement from everywhere across the industry, from the highest levels all the way to people in college. And so, yeah, I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully I can come ride on one of the robots very soon.
Yeah, and I want to eat some good sushi, man. So,
dude, coming to New York, we're in Michelin restaurants now, so you got to reach.
Also, Shinkei may be coming to the West Coast this summer. Maybe, we don't know, but could be opportunity for Six Lab, flamethrowers, sushi. See your albacore.
Oh,
thanks, Ethan. Really appreciate it. Any closing words?
Thank you.
Maybe parting thoughts before you dip?
Yeah. Sage wisdom for young entrepreneurs.
None of us know what we're doing. No. So keep going.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for joining this crossover episode of Shinkei Systems and Farm and G. Like, comment, subscribe to each of the YouTubes, and we'll see you back next week for another episode.
Cheers.